it happened, guys. The sky is falling. You are banned. You get this scary letter of death from Amazon saying that your listing is blocked and you are completely doomed. This is the reality of business. This happened to me several times. This will happen to you sooner or later. This will happen every seller because nobody is safe. That's why you need to be well prepared and know exactly what to do if you encounter these issues. Before I explain on the most common problems that you might have about blocking your listings and your products, I want to be very clear with you that these things happen to all of us. There is nothing wrong with you and your product, and I'm sure you are a really honest and professional seller, that you never sell counterfeits, and you never violate trademarks, and you never violate any patents. But no matter how good you are, your competitor is mostly not as nice as you are, so to speak. In fact, they are ruthless and will do whatever it takes to put you down and get rid of competition. Sounds harsh? Welcome to the Big Boys League. If someone is trying to put you down, it means you are becoming big enough and noticeable threat. A lot of people on Amazon take advantage of a very weak position that Amazon took in protection of sellers. As soon as any report comes, no matter if it's true or not, Amazon always wants to stay safe, to stay out of trouble, to avoid any lawsuits. So as soon as any report comes about you and your listings, they instantly close your listings and ban it. Then you will spend a lot of time trying to prove that, in fact, you are legit, that you didn't violate any trademarks, you didn't infringe any patents, and you have to provide paperwork and prove it and provide all the documentation over and over again. The chances that they reinstate your listings are very, very slim because they simply don't want to get into any sort of legal disputes. Let's cover the most common issues and how you can fight them. And of course, in the end, we'll finish with a happy end where I will give you several tips on how you can survive it. Because no matter how hard you try, no matter how well you are prepared, this will happen to all of us, so nobody is safe. Here is the first case. One day, probably not the best day of your life, you wake up and you realize that your listing is blocked. In some cases, Amazon is sending you this sort of letter of death. In other cases, they don't send you anything, and you just realize that suddenly your product went cold and you have no sales completely for several days. And then you go to your inventory and you see that suddenly this is in blocked status. You read this letter of death, your hands start shaking, your blood pressure is going high, and here is what it says. Your listing is blocked. We are reviewing your account because of concerns about the authenticity of the items below. We would like to work with you to resolve the concerns and complete our review. Within 7 days, please provide the reply giving us the copies of invoices from your supplier that reflects the sales and also contact information of your suppliers and things like that. If you don't do this, they will remove your listing forever. Why does this happen? Most likely it happens because your competitor purchased a copy of your product and then he sent it back to Amazon for a refund, claiming that it was a counterfeit product or that your product didn't match the listing. This is done on purpose, simply to put you down by your competitor. Of course, I assume that you're selling legit products. Of course, if you are selling counterfeits in reality, then you get what you deserved. But in most cases, this is completely false claim, and the only purpose of it was to put you down. There can be different variations of this kind of false report. It can be, like I explained, a false report by your competitor saying it's a counterfeit item, or your competitor could be claiming that you have hazardous elements in your product if you're selling something food related. Amazon will instantly block your listing and then will wait for you to provide all sorts of documents like that. What you will need to do in such a case, this is not a dead end, and this case is the easiest of all. Yeah, it's the easiest of all, trust me. The rest of the cases that I will show you in this video are much harder to solve. In this case, all you need to do is just take your time to prepare the invoices and receipts that you got from your supplier. If you worked with a supplier in China, ask them to prepare invoices, not just a pro forma. It must be a commercial invoice. You can also show payments that you did. If you used PayPal, then you show the payments you did by PayPal or the bank wire transfer. Or if you used Alibaba Trade Insurance, then you can prove and show that as well. Then you are going to show your own website that you're selling your products. You're going to send a link to your trademark registry. And also, I highly recommend that you have your brand registered with Amazon so you can mention that as well. You can say that I am brand registered with Amazon. I have my trademark. Here is the link. Then you attach all of those invoices and the link to the website, and in most cases, your listing will be reinstated because Amazon also realizes that most likely this is a false claim. To solve this case, simply follow what Amazon is saying. This is not the end of the world. The sky is not falling. This is just a temporary hassle and everything will be fine. I've read a lot of stories that your listing will be reinstated as soon as you provide it. Personally, my own listing of hammocks was blocked like that, and after I provided all of these invoices and showed my brand registry and links to my website, Amazon unblocked my listing. This happened to me, and I speak from personal experience as well. It's a very, very common issue because it's very, very easy for your competitor to block you like that. Let's move on to more complicated cases. Case number 2 is a warning of intellectual property rights infringement. This is more serious. This is usually done by competitors who are big enough to have their own legal department. They don't just buy one copy of your product and send it back, claiming a counterfeit. That would be too small of a claim. They get really serious on preparing a fake intellectual property rights infringement letter against you. They hire their lawyers, they analyze your listing, and then they send a serious letter to Amazon claiming that you infringed some of their copyrights somehow. They will never tell to you, and Amazon instantly removes your listing. This is the most difficult case to solve because Amazon wants you to get in contact with this competitor jerk that filed an infringement letter against you. However, these competitor jerks will never reply to you because their only reason was to just block your listing. They have no case against you, so there is no reason for them to give you any response, and obviously, you will never receive a retraction from the false rights owners, which is this competitor in this case. This is a major problem here because basically you are blocked by a competitor who is claiming they have rights to your product, which is not true, but Amazon is trying to stay safe and tries to stay out of trouble in this case, so they have just leaned towards these competitor guys who put these claim and they rely on you to resolve it. You can try to send links, again, to your website. You can talk about patent registry. You can send links to your trademark. But in most cases, your listing will not get unblocked. It will just stay blocked. The highest chance to get this resolved is to hire an FBA lawyer because usually Amazon treats you more seriously if you are writing a letter talking with legal terms, quoting the law, so they feel like you are also a big company and you have your legal department protecting you. In this case, they might treat you more seriously and might look into your documents. That's why if you receive this kind of fake notice of rights infringement, you really need to hire an FBA lawyer to help you prepare the letter to fight back. Because if you just send it yourself, then there is little chance that you'll get it unblocked because Amazon will not treat you seriously. They will see this formal letter from the competitor who used a big-time lawyer to block you. And if you don't use your lawyer, then Amazon assumes you are just too small to bother and your listing will be blocked forever. If you need contacts of FBA lawyers who specialize in these cases, then check our resources section in the Sells Like Hotcakes members area. Don't give up on this. This is a serious case, and if you get in trouble with this kind of case, then a lawyer to help you resolve it. Personally, of course, I got in trouble as well. Obviously, I didn't infringe anybody's rights because I always sell only clean, white-labeled products, and I always put my own brand, so it's not true that I can infringe anybody, but your competitors will use this trick nevertheless. In the final part of this video, I will give you several more tips for what you can do about your blocked listing if you cannot reinstate it at all or don't have money to hire a lawyer. There is always a way, guys. What I want to pass you in this video, the life of a successful seller is hard. A lot of people are jealous of your success. So they would use all of these dirty tricks and false reports to block your listings and block your products because they know how hard it is for you to get reinstated and how easy it is for them to just send one fake report and get you blocked. So a lot of people unfortunately use this. That's why you need to be prepared. You shouldn't simply give up if you receive this kind of warning. You should fight back with full force, push hard, and you will succeed. Now let's move on to the third case. The third case is also very common. It's called patent trolls. In many products on Amazon, even if your product is pretty generic and it doesn't have much to patent and you did your research, you didn't find any patents, but then suddenly you get a patent troll's letter saying that you have violated their patent and they want your listing blocked. This is a different kind of blocking. These guys are not blocking you because they are competitors. These guys are blocking you because they want a piece of the pie. What these guys do is they basically analyze the top selling categories on Amazon and then they file for patent for completely unnecessary and formal parts, I would say, of your product. Imagine you were selling an umbrella, and you know that an umbrella is a very generic product, and there are no patents that can block your listing completely. These guys will go after you, and they will patent a rubber handle for golf umbrellas. Imagine super specific, tiny things like this. After they get a patent, they just use this patent to block all of the guys who are selling exactly the same thing they are mentioning in the patent, a golf umbrella with a rubber handle. This patent is very, very specific. That's why you have no chance to fight back. They know what they're doing, and they will make sure that you have no chance to prove to Amazon that you are not infringing on their patent. The patent is super specific. It comes out of the blue. You didn't expect it. It didn't exist when we started selling, but it doesn't matter anymore. As soon as Amazon sees that someone is violating something, they will just instantly block you without any discussion. Then they want you to contact the patent troll company to dispute this. And after you contact the patent troll company, you will realize that this is a professional patent troll company, which has a lot of very specific small patents on completely useless things, created only with one purpose of blocking Amazon selling and blackmailing them and asking them for money. They have this shady but legal scheme of blocking Amazon sellers, and then if you write to them, they will prove with all the screenshots and legal terms that you are violating their patents, and the only way to resolve this is to pay them a fixed sum, like $10,000 up front, and then royalties like $10 to $20 for each unit sold. They have this kind of ridiculous request, which obviously most people can't comply because you don't have this kind of profit margins to give $10 or $20 to the patent troll for each unit you sell, and then a huge sum up front. This basically will never work for you. That's why most of the listings with small sellers will stay closed, and maybe the biggest sellers will use their lawyers, will negotiate better terms, and maybe they will find a way to continue to sell anyway. This is really bad for small sellers like us who cannot pay just $10,000 to each patent troll. What you will do in such a case: you will either negotiate a lower price with the patent troll and then just sell out all of your remaining merchandise to get rid of what you have, and then you ask your factory to modify the product a little bit to get rid of this patent infringement. For example, change the rubber handle to a metal handle or a plastic handle so you are out of trouble. And you create a new listing, and the next batch of your product will simply go to the new listing which doesn't violate their patent, and the patent troll will leave you alone because it's not easy or fast for them to create many patents in different niches. They are mostly targeting for the biggest fish, the biggest companies, and they will simply leave you alone. I think this is the easiest way for you to get rid of the patent trolls. It's just to sell out your remaining merchandise, modify the product a little bit, and then start selling without any violation and issues. I hope this is helpful, guys. The last one of the legal troubles that you can get is called hijacking and piggybacking of your listing. What is hijacking? Let me quickly switch to Amazon. Let's say you are selling this beautiful stainless steel travel mug, and here is your buy box. If you see here, add to cart, it means you are winning the buy box. But if you get hijackers, then instead of your buy box, here will be offered the offer of the hijacker who is just selling his product on top of your listing. Here, for example, there are a couple of hijackers and piggybackers on the right. These people are selling the same product, and the only reason they're not taking over the buy box is because they're selling a little bit more expensive, so the real guys are still winning the buy box. But if the hijackers would list the same product on top of your listing and put the lower price, they will just steal all the sales. Guys, in most cases, the main problem is that the hijacker is not selling your product. They just bought a cheap counterfeit, which looks kind of the same, and they're just piggybacking on your success, and they're stealing your sales, providing crappy products. But the customer doesn't know the difference, and they will buy from the hijacker anyways. They will get poor quality, and they will assume that it's you who's selling poor quality and give you bad reviews. This will not only steal your sales, but also put the product ratings down, put your account feedback ratings down, so this is really terrible problem. How can you fight hijackers? The best way for you is to monitor for hijackers. Several times a week, check your listings to make sure you are the only one who's selling your product. Sometimes you might notice that guys who bought discounted copies of your product when you, for example, made giveaways, and that they are reselling it. This is totally okay. They just resell one copy and then they get rid of it. This is not illegal and it's fully allowed by Amazon. This is not a hijacker. If someone is professionally hijacking your listing, then you need to get rid of them as soon as possible. What you need to send first is an informal warning to the hijacker. You click Contact the seller who is hijacking your listing and send this short informal letter to them saying, "It came to our attention that you are illegally reselling our brand product. We have created this brand from scratch, and I have never really sold any wholesale items to any other reseller. We own the brand and have not authorized you or anybody else to sell it on Amazon. This might mean that you are selling a counterfeit copies, and this is something that Amazon takes very seriously and will shut down your account without warning. Please remove your product from our listing within 24 hours, or we will have to take legal action, contact Amazon, and issue a formal cease and desist letter. I hope that you remove your product from our listing immediately. Most hijackers will do it because they will never want to risk their account, and they will just simply hijack the next guy on the road. There are a lot of people that sell the same things, and most people will not even notice the hijacker, so he will remove it from your listing and just put the counterfeit copies and hijack your competitor. So this might be even good for you if it happens. Just make sure you get rid of hijackers and you will be fine. How can you prevent hijacking from happening, or at least reduce its chances? If you are selling a very generic product that is easy to duplicate, like this mug for example, then anybody can hijack your listing and sell pretty much the same thing, and it's really hard for you to block them because they will just keep coming back again and again. A great idea is to sell a bundle instead of selling one product. First of all, like I said before, it will help you to increase the price of your product. So instead of $9, you are selling the same mug for $24. Plus, you just put some things like "Here You." See, they added 4 straws into the mug, 1 cleaner. Here they put 2 mugs instead of 1. Here, again, they put 2 straws and some mixing straw. Guys, for a hijacker, it's really hard to piggyback on this kind of listing because they will need to not only to find a supplier for the same cup, but they will also need to find somewhere straws and then pack them together. This is too much trouble for most hijackers, and they will just skip your listing and move on to the next guy who is just selling a more generic thing that is easier to hijack. I hope this makes sense. This is the best way to prevent hijackers from happening. Plus, it will increase your price. To finish this dramatic video, I would like to finish it with a happy ending and give you some tips to stay safe. Guys, again, this happens to all of us, all Amazon sellers, because Amazon wants to stay out of trouble and will block you with the first whistle. So don't worry about it. It's nothing about you, nothing wrong with you or your brand or your product. If you get this kind of fake copyright infringement letters, don't be scared. There are always solutions. Never give up. Again, to avoid hijackers and also reduce the amount of copyright claims, bundle the products and add a lot of variations. For your competitor, it's very hard to claim that you are selling exactly the same thing and violating his copyright if, obviously, you're selling a different thing with the combination of other products. For him, it's harder to block you this way. I hope this makes sense. Plus, if you have a lot of variations of the product in colors or sizes, it's hard for the competitor to block all of your variations because each variation has its own ASIN number. There are cases where you will get just a black color blocked and all of the other colors will keep on selling. I've got many cases like this where a competitor is sending a false claim against only one of my variations, so I got it blocked. But I keep selling other variations just fine. Make a lot of variations, bundle your product, and make it complicated for hijackers and competitors to block you. The second tip is don't put all similar products under one listing. You might have a set of different products that are very related, and some people put them under the same listing. This usually helps them get more reviews. But if your patent of this listing is blocked, then all of the child variations will be blocked as well. It's better to create several listings, not put all the eggs into one basket. Another tip, get your trademark registered early, and not just with Amazon brand registry, but also with a real trademark and patent office in the United States or Europe. It takes a lot of time. It takes 6 to 12 months to get your trademark registered. So take care of this early. This will really help strengthen your case, in case you are using a lawyer to fight back against false claims that you infringed something. The next tip, of course, get legal advice from your lawyers because you will be treated much more seriously by Amazon when checking and investigating your case if a reply from your lawyer, because they assume that if you hire a lawyer, then you must be legit. It's just common sense because they have so many cases and they just have to find a way to quicken things and ease the things up. If you're dealing with lawyers, you have higher chances to get unblocked, even if you have to pay the fees. Plus, there is one more tip. If you feel like your listing is blocked forever and Amazon is just not cooperating and not letting you unblock it completely, what you can do is, of course, if you're right and you believe you don't infringe anything and have confirmation from your lawyer that you are clean, then what you can simply do is to recall your inventory from the blocked listing to some USA location of yours, or it can be a preparation center in the United States if you don't have your own location there. Then the preparation center can relabel again all of these items, put the new SKU labels that you give them. So you basically relist the item. You create a new listing and then you ship it back and start all over again. Start the launch and for this product and basically start selling again. I know this sounds like some hassle, but if your listing is blocked forever, I think it's not a big deal to reinstate your listing, relabel everything, and start selling again, instead of just giving up and just losing all of your inventory, guys. There is always a way. If you are working legally, then you don't need to worry about this. You just continue selling and carry on. Here's your bonus tip to close this long video. Never give up, guys. It's not easy and it's a long journey, but it's totally worth it. A lot of people are making 6- and 7-figure profits on Amazon, and of course, you'll meet fierce competitors along the way. Same like with offline business. It's natural that sooner or later, some of your listings will get blocked, and it's totally normal. It's part of the business. Take it as a challenge. It's like a traffic accident. Yes, it happens. So what? Nobody is hurt. Then you just shake it off and move on. You'll deal with it. You'll continue selling. You keep pushing, and you will succeed. I'm sure of that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next videos. If you think this can be helpful, please share the video, and I will see you inside our Sells Like Hotcakes members area.